And a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us here for another episode of Conversations with Michael. Let's take a deep breath here before we begin today's episode. Very good. Recognizing the incredible opportunity that all of humanity now faces is why we broadcast these for free every month. The opportunity that we have been sharing is really all about embodying a human soul relationship. So I welcome all of you here today. We are streaming live for our home studio in Western Oregon. We're also simulcasting this stream to 3 different Facebook pages, our own website, and our YouTube channel. And we welcome all of you that have chosen to join us live and all of you who watch this later. The opportunity to share an embodied human soul relationship. Well, that's pretty profound, truly profound, because it challenges our human self on so many levels. We're challenged on a daily basis to look at a variety of beliefs that for the most part have served us, but now they might be interfering with such a sacred opportunity. Have you noticed that in your own life? Have you noticed in this time now how so much of what has been lingering in the background has come right up to your face? Just to make a choice. Does this serve you any longer? To name but a few, our own beliefs about spirituality, our beliefs about religion, politics, how we are relating to this increasing and challenging technological toys and advances in our world, our relationship and our beliefs as it relates to our own sexuality, and a variety of other social norms. All of these and more might not represent, going forward, a good fit in this relationship with our own soul. I've discovered that for myself, and it continues to be my honor to help guide those who want to experience truly a tangible relationship with that non-physical version of yourself. So let's take another breath there. Because I'm sharing this in a rather unique way. I'm simply sharing my own relationship with Michael. And if I could have envisioned what I am doing right now, here, today, 30 years ago, well, more than likely, well, I'm going to almost guarantee it, my human self, Robert, at that time, would have said no thank you. Couldn't even imagine doing what I am doing today. And yet, 30 years later, I've never been happier. So it's interesting, the choices that we make that are awkward for where we might be now. But when we find that courage inside ourselves, or even just the passion to do something different, to trust in something that just feels right without knowing why it does, incredible things happen. Because I never knew this quality of self-respect, the degree of compassion I feel for me and for others, and the love that I feel for myself. I never knew this was even possible 30 years ago. So no matter where any of you are at in your own life, something has attracted you to ancient wings and the teachings of Michael. We don't spend any energy trying to recruit anybody or draw anybody to what we are doing, but we're simply honored to be of service to wherever you are in your own life. And from my own experience, I can promise you in this human soul relationship a renewed and deeper sense of passion and joy. It eventually does surface. ends up becoming real. But not the way your human self perhaps expects it. Because these expectations place so many conditions on the quality of this experience with your soul. We're all blessed with such a variety of different teachers that are now on the planet. Most of those, you can see them online today. The variety of different channelers and fellow masters that are stepping forward and just sharing their own truth, all doing whatever speaks to their own heart. And I'm good with that. I celebrate that because it's been a long time since we've been able to feel the freedom to speak about life in the way that it's being spoken about today. So on that note, of course, we have a few exciting announcements before I turn this over to Michael, and beginning with what we're presenting here today. We are, we love promoting any service or product we use that helps to enhance the quality of our own work, and today's live session is being streamed for the first time using our new live streaming platform called Vimeo Live. And actually, this is kind of a test run with Vimeo Live. Over the last 3 months, we've been exploring a variety of different platforms, but we kept coming back to Vimeo. They just have a very unique business model, and it kind of parallels with how we do business here with Ancient Wings and the teachings of Michael. It's based on creators subscribing to their service instead of using advertising to help support their brand. So they made a major shift a few years ago. They'd rather see YouTube and Facebook and Netflix as partners rather than as competitors. And that shift in part came about because they hired a female CEO who was able to see that partnerships actually enhance your own content, your own business model. It's just such a refreshing approach to doing business. 2 years ago, Vimeo purchased another company called Livestream, which was considered and still is really the premier live streaming platform. And over the next year, and of course, because they purchased that, it allowed them to shift their relationship with Netflix, with YouTube, with Facebook, because now they have the capacity to offer creators a way to share their own content. Yeah. So over the next year, we're going to be moving hundreds of hours of video content over the Vimeo. And monthly subscribers to the Masters Unplugged program, you'll be the first to enjoy using the new Vimeo playlist and all of our video libraries. I'm looking forward to presenting that with all of you, sharing that with all of you. You're going to have to be a little patient. It's going to take a while to download all the videos. And during our research of Vimeo, we also noticed that they offer an opportunity to share these playlists inside their own unique Vimeo app at no additional charge. And of course, that lit a light inside my own head. I'm a person that rarely uses my own smartphone. I mean, for the most part, it's turned off. So I was a little surprised to see the role that apps play in so many people's lives. It was a little, a good awakening for me, a realization of where people are and, for the most part, where this whole technology is moving into. Mobile devices all over the place. So today we're excited to announce something that I created. Our own app, the Ancient Wings app, which you can now download for free from our homepage. We decided to use the same format that Twitter uses. And they call it, I guess it's universally called, a PWB, or a progressive web-based app. You can download it directly from our own site. And we're also going to be offering the native version of that app that will be available only for Android devices, which you'll be able to download for free in the Google Play Store. And of course, most websites today are designed to be mobile friendly, including ours, but the app just seems to make it easier to access your content on your phone. And besides that, it does something else. I never imagined 30 years ago, or even 3 months ago, creating an Ancient Wings app just because it proves that one thing just leads to another. Indeed. I think the rock band called The Fix made that phrase famous back in the 80s. If you'd like to stay connected to all of our upcoming events, feel free to check out our homepage or subscribe to our monthly newsletter. And on that note, thank you again for joining us here for all the support that you've offered over the last 30 years. Let's take a deep breath and allow Michael to share his own unique wisdom. Indeed, it is I, Michael. Thank you, Robert, for your introduction. I'm not sure what we would do with an app in the etheric realms, but I'm sure humanity will surprise us all. These are indeed the times all of you have been waiting for. We, of course, are speaking to the awakened human being, one who has reclaimed a very unique relationship with their own soul, which has ignited a new sense of passion for this human experience, one that has been written about over the ages. But very few have actually been willing to allow the magnificence of their own soul to do what? To also live inside these human bodies. Very few have allowed this presence within this human experience the freedom to also do what? To speak. Oh, we understand. It takes a lot of courage to stop quoting whatever wisdom or truth you might have heard from any number of other angelic beings. And we're not looking for others to simply act as a type of chameleon for our truth, our words. Because our joy comes when you start to trust your own intuition. Certainly feeling inspired by whatever we might be sharing, but start to begin to speak from your own presence. Because that presence has its own unique wisdom, its own unique perspective. It's not an easy thing as a human being to drastically change your life in order to simply accommodate the dynamic and magnificent presence of who you are as a non-physical soul. Accommodating something that has been written about and prayed for by millions with no tangible evidence that such a presence even exists. But we are speaking to those who have transcended faith. For you, it must become a physical experience for it to be real. Do any of you realize how rare that is? Because it truly is. And it's no wonder, is it not, that you feel like you just don't fit on this planet. Indeed. And when you do share your truth, it's usually met with judgment, ridicule, sometimes anger, resentment. Our truth is not about making the rest of humanity wrong so that you can feel right. It does, however, require of you to begin to deconstruct your own story, your own movie, your own life. And in a lot of ways, in hindsight, speaking to the awakened human being, wouldn't it be a lot easier to keep pointing fingers? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it would have. It would have been a lot easier not to go through what you're going through or have gone through and just keep pointing fingers. It must be them. It must be the politicians. It must be the religions. It must be on and on and on. So to change your own perspective of what's going on this earth and to bring it all home to, can I change my own perception of what is real and what is not? Because a lot of what you inherited from your human family was never yours to carry. But you did you not? Oh, you tried. But you realize the sympathetic response to your own personal dilemma just wasn't enough to endure the daily discomfort you were feeling, which brought a lot of you, and still does, to your knees, as if screaming to the heavens, where do I fit in all of this? Indeed. And that feeling seemed to ignite an even deeper feeling, as if to say, perhaps a part of you has been carrying this before Earth was even created. Let's take a deep breath there. Because the story just keeps getting better and better. And if you've been following our conversations, you know that as we speak, you've come to realize that you now are creating your own reality. That is a truth that can be shared by a variety of other teachers, channelers, prophets, whatever you want to label them. That is a common belief that can be shared by so many others, and yet even that has its own perspective. How each of you choose to embrace it and embody it as being your birthright is entirely up to you. And perhaps for the first time as a human being, you are owning this. That whatever is going on in your life, you know you played a part in creating it. Your job now here is discerning which parts of you are creating it. How many human beings can actually claim that truth, that you're creating your own experience? Not many. One that has you feeling free of all of those underlying beliefs. In a way, these beliefs, they've been controlling the quality of your own experience. All those underlying emotions, choosing for you the direction your life would go. How's that going? How's that feeling? So you discovered something inside of you that was quite unique. You discovered a part of you that seemed to know a lot more than just the human part. How did this part of you become real? How did it become something that you could rely on, trust, and eventually allow it to support your life? You practiced allowing over and over and over again. Oh, we know Some of you wish that there was an allowing switch somewhere on your body. You could just turn it on and instantly there you are allowing. But you realize there's a lot of, well, resistance to allowing. Indeed. Until you allowed this intuitive version of you to actually be at the front of your life, it had been a struggle. It had been a challenge. But we see that so many are there now. For the first time, owning that you're creating your own reality and allowing this intuitive version of you to now be at the front of your life. Which meant what? Well, so many of those other versions that had been choosing for you, they started to take a back seat. You started to take ownership of your own life by not reacting to all those underlying emotions. And that doesn't mean you went mental and stopped feeling. Just the opposite, my friends. Quite the opposite. The mental part was creating all the drama. Some of you are feeling that as we speak. Some of you feel stuck in that mental part, creating all the drama. And you find that it's taking everything of you on a daily basis and throughout your day to be this clear now about who is at the front of my life. Who is choosing for me? Is it me, the intuitive version, my own soul presence? Or did I go passive? Because the intuitive part ends up feeling life in general so deeply, so passionately, that it actually scares the human self, your mind. So you've taken ownership of this, what we call the non-reactionary version of you. That part of you that just enjoys being. Just enjoys being. And to your mind, whenever we mention this being part, it translates that into something really boring. Being to your mind is being passive. And that's how messed up this whole human experience has become. It's because the being part, it's the one that freely imagines endless possibilities. Imagine your life right now with a whole list of endless possibilities. And it's all about creating lists. Well, we know your mind will gladly step forward in service to your past. It has its own list of memories that would serve its own perception of life. So when you embrace this whole notion of creating a new story, how does that feel? Creating a new story. One that gave your soul permission to deepen its connection to your own physical body. Bold choice, my friends. Very bold choice. But it didn't stop there, did it? Its presence has greatly influenced the role your mind is beginning to accept. And to your human self, it feels like a new role. But your mind has also become aware that this new role actually isn't new at all. amazing realization. It's become aware it has its roots deeply seated in your own divine nature. A role that transcended the separation that existed for a long time between the mother and father of creation, which continues to play itself out in your human story. But your new story acknowledges what has been and now embraces what it has also become. It's as if your past had literally cast a spell over your own perception. Endless versions of you, feeling separated from your own sacred nature. So your new story acknowledges the wounded heart and mind in all of its forms. It also acknowledges the integrated relationship between the Divine Mother and Father, and the profound impact that this new relationship is also having on all of creation, which is as well beginning to play itself out in your human story. Big time. Let's take a deep breath. Once again, we're happy to entertain your mind with our words. But the true communication is happening behind the scenes, so to speak, because the language of spirit goes first straight to the heart of each of you in the form of an energetic presence. This year, so many are beginning to feel a new light shining in your own life. It feels as if someone opened a window in a very stuffy house, allowing some fresh air to awaken a new passion for being human. In a way, you could say that all the hard work you put into your own transformation is now beginning to bear fruit. The seeds have been planted. The roots are strong. But what is now emerging is actually quite fragile. You're feeling that as I speak. The new story, a different role that you're playing. In a way, it feels like a new identity that now needs your full attention. It requires of all of you, a lot of self-care and a lot less distractions. Let's take another deep breath there. Because this year represents a very critical turning point for so many of you and for the rest of your human family. This is the year to truly put into practice your own self-mastery. To be what? To be what we call the proactive creator. One who chooses their own experience consciously. That would be new. And that is where your freedom resides. That means you might need a little, or perhaps a lot of space from those around you that don't share your own perspective. That means you might need to give your body a little more space to integrate its own natural state, non-physical as well. That means it's time to acknowledge throughout your day those parts of you that feel that life is happening to them. And then to consciously reclaim those parts that know you are creating it all. Let's do that right now. Acknowledge how you're feeling as we speak. No matter what it is. Both perhaps the bliss and all those other underlying energies that don't feel very fulfilling. And then let's accept it all. Both the bliss and all those underlying feelings that don't feel very fulfilling. That for the most part, they never originated from you. But we're going to sidestep the whole battle scene that you've practiced countless lifetimes and how you internalized that by beating up yourself and projected that own inner battle that used to go on in countless lifetimes out into your exterior reality. And this has been the pattern that's been going on between the energies you like and those that you don't. Which then allows something profound to happen now that you're owning, that you're creating your own experience. Because now you're allowing your own presence to move into your body and to share its light with all versions of you and all other energies that you inherited, no matter their source. Let's take a deep breath with that. The solution to all of this has always been you, the sacred self, your divine presence, your own soul, your eternal self, all that is you. And now that you're allowing you to be you too, here as a human, a lot of you have noticed that your creativity within this very presence has quite a charge, has quite a spark of fire connected to it. And this is not something that you want to play with. This is something that you want to respect. Being a creator, dear ones, is an awesome choice. But it takes a tremendous amount of personal responsibility to ensure that your creations are also fulfilling. There are more human beings as we speak on the planet at this time than ever before that have chosen consciously to live their life consciously. And because of that choice, they are experiencing more than we've ever witnessed before, a very fulfilling life. Not because they won the lottery. These that we are speaking of know that they've already won the lottery, but they call it their soul, their own presence. Spirit, with their name on it. And by allowing this presence to experience its own joy inside this human experience, they've also recognized that this is the greatest gift that the human self has ever given to the soul. And in return, the human also feels blessed. For the first time, by feeling a type of unconditional support that doesn't come from their fellow human beings, it's coming from their own soul nature. For your soul knows no lack. Your soul knows no hardship. Your soul doesn't subscribe to pain and suffering as being normal, but it does have tremendous compassion for those that might be experiencing that. It just knows there's another way. If you want to call it a better way, so be it. It's not an easy choice for the human to allow your own presence to serve you. Because the passive creator has been always looking outside of itself for support from other people, from jobs, from a externalized version of spirit, families, friends, co-workers, all in support of trying to make sense of a life that has felt to all of you out of balance, as if something is just not right about this place. But now what we are witnessing more than ever before, more proactive creators acknowledging whatever energy comes to their front door. And instead of doing battle, instead of pushing back, they're just accepting it. And we get it. To the passive creator, that sounds like you're allowing life in whatever form to take advantage of you. But listen, dear ones. The proactive creator realizes the mechanics of the energies involved here. After lifetimes of practice, it gets it. When you push against life, life just pushes back harder. It realizes that you can't change a preferred state of consciousness no matter how hard you might try, but you can change your own. And that shift will literally change your own perception, even if the physical environment remains just the same. And we are now at this place where thousands of human beings have changed their own state of consciousness. But to those that are feeling stuck inside their own inner reality, the awakened human appears to them to be irresponsible, uncaring, and actually not of this world. And at least one of those descriptions is correct, is it not? So you have chosen to stay on this planet. Thank you. Despite the turmoil that surrounds you, while experiencing in the most unlikely environments the divine presence of your own soul. And how does that fit alongside the rest of your human family? Not very well. But that's not your problem. The problem solver, the one that used to choose for you, as the proactive creator, it now serves your soul in support of this new state of consciousness, one that already knows that this physical realm is but a byproduct of the non-physical realities, your etheric nature. Let's take another deep breath. Because these indeed are exciting times. scary and fulfilling at the same time. And as always, as your angelic counterparts, we are but a heartbeat away. You are never truly alone. Ever. All my blessings, dear one.